What you see behind me is my 2022 Ford Mustang Mach 1. It's newly acquired. To me, it's a clean slate. I'm going to be able to look at what I did in the year and a half of ownership of a 2021 and decide if all the moves I made were actually the correct ones. I've got hindsight here. So in this episode of Tony's Fords and Mustangs, kind of follow along and look at my rationale as to what I thought I did right and what I did wrong and what I'm going to do right this time. Now, the first thing I did, and this is absolutely hindsight, I knew I was going to do it when I picked the car up. I ditched the Cup 2s. They're sitting over there in a corner. They're on eBay right now. I absolutely hate those tires. Anybody that follows this channel knows this. They're a great track tire, but they're horrid on the street. The tires I chose this time are a Continental Extreme Contact. I've had these tires before. I had them on my Boss 302. I really like the tires. The time before I went with the 4S. And the reason I did that was it was the only tire that was available that would fit these cars in April of 2021. The rears I had to oversize. These are a 325 as opposed to a 315, but I'm okay with that. One of the problems I had at the drag strip was traction. A little wider tire isn't going to hurt me there. And these tires are much quieter than the 4S. I don't think there's a big drop off in performance. Like I said, I've owned them both and I've tracked them both. And the Continentals to me are just as good a tire, a little bit less money, and a quieter ride. The second thing I installed was my Ford Performance oil catch can. Is this necessary? I've had a few people comment that you really don't need them on this engine. This is a carryover from my Boss 302. Actually found that part laying behind my car after the accident. I just picked it up. So it's a carryover from my 2021. It may not be necessary, but I have it. It's not going to cost me anything, so I installed it. So the next piece that's going to be installed is this dash cam. And if you watch this channel, you'll know why I'm going to install this dash cam. This model has ignition on as well as a memory wire to it. And that's important because if your car's parked, it's activated by motion. So you can see what's going on if anyone's messing around with your car. So that's going in today as well. Next on the agenda is hood struts. I'm getting rid of the prop rod just like I did last time. I like Redline Tuning. They do a good job with their kits. It's a pretty simple install. I'm going back to them. There's plenty of hood strut install videos. I'm going to run through this real quick, but I'm just going to show you one trick. And it has to do with the battery cover. I actually don't follow the instructions on that. If I need to get to my battery, I need to do it in a hurry. If I'm out on the road, I really don't want to mess around with a hood strut prop sitting there. I want to be able to just pull the tray off. So I'll show you that. Now, you buy this kit from Redline, they're going to tell you to punch a hole right here. And that's to allow the post on the passenger side to poke up through and allow you to attach the strut. They provide a template and they provide a step bit, which is cool. I'm gonna keep this. The problem is when this battery cover's on the car, and say you do have an issue with your battery, it runs down, you need to get a jump, you need to use your jump pack, you have to remove the strut then. When that requires a tiny little screwdriver to pull the clip so you can pull the strut so you get the battery cover off. So I'm actually gonna modify this just a little bit more. I'm gonna cut it right here and here. That will allow me to undo this cover with just the 3 thumb screws, and these 2 are somewhere under the car. I got to find those. And then just pull this cover off. Should I have a problem? There we go. Pair of tin snips. Did that and took 2 seconds. So if I have an issue with my battery now, since I made that alteration, I just go in here and pull this thing out. There's my battery. If you just tap the hole here, oh, this is my Adelphi headlamp. This thing kicks ass. It's LED, it's rechargeable. I use it all the time now. You won't see a drop light hanging off my hood anymore. But anyway, you make that alteration and you just pull the thing right out and it goes back in just as easy. It just slides under there. It's a much better solution than trying to deal with loosening a hood strut when you have a bad battery. I'm going to turn this thing back on now and find the thumb screws that are, the bottoms of the thumb screws that are somewhere down in here somewhere. A couple things that aren't mods, but I suggest you have them in your vehicle, especially the Mach 1. There's no spare tire in this. There is a tire pump in the back, but if there's a hole, a nail, a screw, that's not going to do you a whole lot of good to put air in as air's leaking out. I always take a little plug kit, and that goes right beside the compressor. I usually wrap it in a towel, that way it doesn't rattle around. But it's got everything I need in there to put a little pair of wire cutters in there. That way I can pull a nail or screw out. And my plugs are in there, as well as the tool to insert the plug and a little bit of rubber cement. The other thing would be a jump pack. This one's by Battery Tender. Should you have any alternator or battery issues, this thing, you can actually run your car off of this. So your battery goes flat, maybe get an extra 20 to 25 miles out of just this little jump pack. You just pop this in here, connect this to your battery leads. Your car will run off a battery for a while. The last thing I recommend is a tow hook. You really don't want someone to latch onto the back of that car with a tow rig and just pull it. You might end up losing your front bumper cover, your splitter. That would be bad. So this tow hook is usable. It goes right there in the front of your bumper. That little piece pops out. This just screws in, and then the set nut goes down to lock it in. There's a place for your tow hook. It's underneath your air compressor in the back. So just pull the air compressor out, mount your tow hook there. My plug kit's over there along with my charger, so my jump pack. And it's a nice little setup. Doesn't rattle around in there. It sits in there real snug, real firm. So there you go. They're the first mods to my car. Tires were first. Hood struts. I loaded up the trunk with everything I think I might need in case there's an issue. And last but not least at all is a dash cam. If you don't have a dash cam, watch my last video about the accident. It made life so much easier. They're relatively inexpensive. There were no issues from anyone. Not from the police, not from the other insurance company. Everything was right there for them to see as to exactly what happened. And I don't know if I didn't have that dash cam that this would be sitting here. I might still be going through some litigation. Who knows? But yeah, get yourself a dash cam. It should be one of the first mods you make. Thanks for watching. Till next time, we'll see you.